It's my fault for not knowing any better. I could have found a hanger to put it in and I didn't, so that one's on me. So
Join me as I put my ferry pilot hat back on and head across the American West along Highway 80. You'll see some unforgettable scenery, some really cool flight stops, and get to know the Marquart Charger with me. Out of all the flying I have, or I think I ever will do, this right here is my favorite. Anytime I'm ferrying across unknown terrain, especially elevated terrain, I typically like to stay over a major road or highway. Highway 80 worked pretty well for this trip going east to west, and then I joined another road headed north towards Seattle. While at times this can mean I miss some of the prettier scenery, my job is to get the airplane to the owner safely, in one piece, and on time. Although I don't really worry if I add a few hours here or a couple hundred miles there if it means that I can take a less risky route. There's a lot of things that you take into consideration when you take an airplane across mountainous areas. I'm taking density, altitude, runway length, service ceiling of the aircraft, what the winds aloft are doing, fuel range, and consumption into consideration every time I fly an aircraft cross country. I'm no expert on mountain flying, so I always err on the side of caution. I try to find the lowest route possible over a road through the mountains, and if there's any high altitude passes, I usually try to attempt those in the morning. A lot of that boils down to not putting yourself in a situation you can't get out of. Winds and weather conditions can change dramatically across different types of climates, and sometimes conditions at the airport are not exactly what they're reported. I've learned the hard way in the past never to trust an airport weather observation.
alright, you guys, well, I have actually landed here in Schaumburg, Illinois. Or no, I landed in Chicago and then we caught an Uber over here to Schaumburg, and I'm going to be meeting the previous owner of the airplane that I'm ferrying today. We're meeting at this little cafe. It's pretty cool. I think you guys will like it, so we'll go check it out.
I love a good airport cafe, especially when they're decorated pretty sweet. This restaurant is located in Schaumburg, Illinois. Due to super high winds on the day I arrived, I elected to depart the following morning. Anytime I pick up a new airplane, I like to give it a good look over before I hop in. I wasn't able to film any of that just for the sake of time.
Alright, well, it is the morning of Tuesday, so good morning. I'm making this video now because I'm kind of in a hurry this morning. I gotta go pick up the airplane, make sure that there's no water in the lines. It's been sitting for a couple months since the fall. So I'm going to go do all my pre-checks on that and make sure that it's running good. And then I'm not going to have a lot of time to film when I get there, and so I'm just going to save that for the next stop. But yeah, hopefully y'all enjoy. Here we go. Okay, well, I've ended up in Antelope County is where I'm at right now. And so it's kind of a neat little airport. A little windy coming in here, but caught a sneak peek of an old car back there. I'm going to check that out, and then airplane's running good. I'm really pleased with it. It's a very fine handling airplane. Been really enjoying it so far. It's not been too cold. I mean, it's cold, but it's not like the bone-chilling cold that I'm used to in the winter, so that's nice. It's pretty shielded back there. This window is pretty tall for a window, so that really helps keep the wind out of my face. But anyways, I'm not too worried about time today because I don't think I'm going to be going through any mountains. I'm going to do that tomorrow in the morning when everything's calm. And so I'm just trying to get to, I think Laramie is where I'm trying to get to tonight. So we'll see if I go there, and if it's calm, I might go a little farther. Who knows? But anyway.
I was shown this next stop a few years ago by a good friend of mine. Established in the 1920s as the first airmail route between the eastern and western coast of continental North America, the Transcontinental Airway System guided nighttime airmail flights before the invention of radio navigation and GPS. This particular marker can be found at 80 Victor, Medicine Bow, right off of Highway 80. I ended up overnighting the first day in Rollins.
Okay, good morning. So I made it to Rollins last night, and I was so tired that I just didn't get the chance to film anything. So I'm out here at butt crack of dawn, and we're gonna get some sunrise footage, hopefully, if I get off the ground soon enough. But I'm gonna time it just right because I also don't want to fly into that, which is where the mountains are, before it's still too dark. So anyways, now begins the fun process of tying all my shit back in the front and blasting off. But luckily the winds are projected to be really good today. Might be a little gusty, but not near as bad as they were the day before yesterday. So,
And just my luck, when I got to the airplane, it was covered in frost. I learn a new lesson every trip.
okay, so I got the chunky stuff off, but there's still this little layer of just like, here it is, like residual, like it melts as soon as my hand touches it. So I used a brush. It's pretty soft. I typically don't like doing that kind of stuff on wings just because like I don't want to scratch them up, scratch with the paint, but I wasn't really worried about it because there's just like little like layer beneath that I can't get off with a brush that kind of protected it. And yeah, I'm gonna wait for the sun to do the rest, so it's my fault for not knowing any better. I could have found a hanger to put it in and I didn't, so that one's on me. So, but anyways, I'm gonna wait for the sun to melt it and then we're gonna get on the road.
Learned my lesson on that one. After it all melted off, I blasted off to the next stop. I really liked the Marquart Charger. This one in particular had a cruise speed of about 115 to 120 when everything was trimmed out just right. And while it wasn't a particularly comfortable cross-country airplane, it certainly wasn't the most uncomfortable one either. I'm about 5'9" and 150 pounds, and it suited me just fine. This one burned about 8.5 to 9 gallons of fuel per hour, holding 35 gallons of total fuel. Had 2 5-gallon tanks in the wings, and then one 25-gallon tank in the center. I stopped about every 2 hours, and that kept me pretty sane. Overall, the airplane was pretty nimble, not too heavy, and enjoyable to fly. This particular airport hosted quite a nice mountainous backdrop. This was Brigham City, right off of the Great Salt Lake. I wiggled through some terrain and then joined the highway up through Boise, headed towards Seattle. Once I made it to Pendleton, Oregon, I hung a left following Highway 84, joining the river that separates Oregon and Washington. I ended up at Columbia Gorge Regional, probably the most beautiful airport I've landed at yet.
Well, good morning, you guys. So, I am in Dallas, Oregon, or Dallas. I think it's Dallas. It's beautiful here. Probably like one of the most beautiful stops I've like ever had. Tullahoma, Tennessee is also beautiful. Not Tullahoma, Knoxville. It's really pretty as well. But anyway, so I got weathered down last night and about an hour left to go this morning to destination. And then, man, I love airport people. They're just the best. I show up and it's late and the FBO's closed and this nice gentleman lets me use his car and helps me hangar the plane and everything. So check that place out. I mean, it is just beautiful here. This little downtown area is really cute. I'm going to show you all the bridge here in a second.
I'd like to extend a special thanks to James, the fellow who helped me hangar the airplane. I used a cockpit cover every night on this trip, but still it helped to have it in a hangar just to be safe. After fueling her up, I headed westbound along the gorge to make sure I stayed south of the Mount Rainier mountain range, and I headed straight up to south of Seattle to destination. I gave the customer a little victory lap around the airport and brought her into land.
it. Successful relocation from Clinton, Iowa to Washington, south of Seattle. So she is here, happy new owner, and happy to do it.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Flying Doodles. While I enjoy creating media, I enjoy flying more. So if you ever have an airplane that you need moved across the country, feel free to give me an email. I'll drop that email for you in the description. In the meantime, if you're enjoying this type of content, feel free to subscribe and give us a like and a comment. In addition, I actually started a new podcast. It's called Hangar Bums, and it's all in the name. I go around and I find crusty old fellas at the airport who have stories to tell. The podcast is now available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so you can listen to them in your car on the way to work. And if you prefer a video form of the podcast, that's available on our Patreon. The link for that is also in the description, and for a limited time only, you can receive Flying Doodles Patreon and Hangar Bums Patreon for one price. Just head on over to our Flying Doodles Patreon, subscribe, and I'll add you to the Hangar Bums at no extra cost. Feedback and criticism is welcomed as I develop this new show, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.